You know, when more people online are saying this is the best value phone in a long time, rather than Apple makes the same phone every single year, I think it's time to upgrade. For the first time in about 5 years, this phone right here is what's finally making me move on from my iPhone 11. I got the base model iPhone 17. And you know, by the sounds of it, the iPhone 17s are the new iPhone 11s. This has been sitting in a box for days and I've been wanting to open it so bad. Be aware, I'm very biased because, again, I am incredibly excited. And this is the first time I actually bought the newest generation iPhone, so you know, I don't get to experience this every year like some other YouTubers. This should be a pretty huge upgrade, so let's finally take it out. And that looks amazing. You know, I didn't get Apple Care yet, so let's try not to drop it. And that feels really nice, actually. And as far as colors for the default 17, there's actually a lot of good ones. There's a pretty nice blue, there's a lavender, and I almost got the sage green, I believe it's called. But I ended up just getting, they call it black. That's gray. That's not black. But you know, wherever on the grayscale slider this lands, it's looking good. But I thought the best color for phones was the deep blue for the 17 Pros. But I don't think that's worth spending an extra $300 or $400 just to get a better color. I should have done it. I'll go into my decision-making process in a bit because it actually was a pretty tough choice for me, especially considering some of the features on those Pro models. But by the end of this video, I think I'll have my answer if this was the right choice for me or not. Now, as far as screen size, that was beautiful. Now, I must have missed it, but the 17 is actually very slightly, I think by 0.2 inches, bigger than the 16. And the 17 screen size is also bigger than the 11s, but what's interesting is if I put them side by side, they are the exact same size phone. So that means all that extra screen size is just by thinning out the bezels on the 11. And actually, you know, just to be safe, I'm gonna plug in my iPhone 11. It doesn't exactly have the best battery. I think the 17 should be good. I hope. Now, as far as the displays, there were a few pretty good updates here from Apple. They pretty much took the 16 Pro screen and put it in the base model 17. The thing with the most hype is definitely the Pro Motion display. I'm gonna be debunking that in a second if it's actually noticeable or not. And in terms of the notch, I just love the fully floating look compared to the 11s where it's just attached to the bezel. The dynamic island, I mean, it might sound stupid, but it is one of the features I'm most looking forward to. I don't know, I just like the design or something. I don't know, it's cool to my caveman brain. And also in terms of new things is the quick action button instead of the silence switch. But something that is a little embarrassing to admit is I didn't realize the camera control button was something different than the quick action button. So I'm excited to test out the camera control button, but also just the cameras generally, because if you look at that size difference, those are much bigger on the 17. So I wonder what kind of images we can get out of that now. But something else I noticed when I was transferring it over is there is no more SIM card slot. Now, I think it's only some countries where the 17 is shipping completely eSIM, which I wasn't really familiar with, but there's apparently a lot of benefits. It seems to be more secure, makes activations quicker. You can store more numbers on your phone, so I could have more throwaway numbers to text your mother with. And it also saves enough space in your phone where they can actually make the battery a little bit bigger. Oh, I didn't even have a chance to look at this cable here. This looks like a braided, fully USB-C cable, which personally I think is gonna be a lot more convenient since like every device I own runs off of USB-C now. But yeah, this is feeling a lot better than the type of cable that shipped with my iPhone 11 back in the day. And there are no stickers. Actually, matter of fact, I don't know if you guys are normal or if you also for some reason keep your old phone boxes, like my iPhone 11's here. Somehow I still have it, I don't know why. I have my Apple sticker in here. Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm never gonna use it. Oh, here we go, action button. Let's see, we can get silent mode, focus mode, camera. I mean, we have the camera control button. I'm sure that can open it. Flashlight, which could be useful. Yeah, I hate to say it, I hate to be boring, but I feel like silent mode is the most useful. Okay, that really only took like 6 or 7 minutes, but the transfer is complete. This phone is useless to me now. No, I'm just kidding. You know, all my most popular YouTube videos have been about this phone here. It'll always live in my heart, even though I'm trading it into Verizon for $300. Insane deal, by the way. Pretty sure you could buy this new for like $280 on eBay, so. Now, iOS 26. I can tell this is smoother already. I kind of thought people were overhyping like having over 60 hertz on a phone screen, but you can tell immediately. The kind of liquid glass vibe, I'm digging it. I think it's clean. What I'm not digging is that new camera icon. But as far as the customizations, you could do the default, the light, the dark, the tinted, but also now the clear as a part of the liquid glass. I don't know if that's my style, but it is interesting to look at least. They have the App Store and then the Apple Store app. I won't be needing to buy another phone for a long time, so I think I can delete that one. Whoa, what happened there? I clicked lock and it brings up this page. Oh, there's like the always on display or something. I don't know, there's a lot I gotta figure out here. What's a good first song here to test out the dynamic island with? Hey, Ghost Town by Kanye. Oh wow, that gets way louder than my iPhone 11. I didn't even consider that. And this actually does have 2 speakers, unlike the iPhone Air. Like that's such a simple feature, but I love that. I don't know about this always on display. I don't actually know how to turn off my phone. Year to year, iPhones don't really change that much, but you know, between 6 generations, a lot of things do. And I'm gonna show the most noticeable ones to me in a second, but first I wanna talk about what actually drew me to the 17, especially over something like the Pro. I ran a poll on my Instagram and YouTube, and most of Instagram said I should get one of the Pro models, while YouTube said I should get the base model. And you know, I am a video guy, so having things like a telephoto lens or Apple ProRes Log or now ProRes RAW in a phone, that can make for some fun videos. Like, will Pro Max, like battery-wise and lifespan-wise, last longer than a base 17? Yeah, probably. Are there more fun features for me to take advantage of? Yes. Is it a big upgrade from the 11? Definitely. But is the base 17 also a big upgrade from the 11? Yes. Like anything in the 17 lineup, like you really can't go wrong, especially with the base model because of how much value is just jam-packed into here. Like the price to feature ratio is just insane on the base 17. Even just compared to the 16, like this is a much better deal. And talking about prices, this is kind of just unrelated, but the fact that Apple's selling a $60 strap for their Pro phones, like if you buy that, that's just like a stupid head tax. That's crazy. Now keep in mind, these are just my initial thoughts. I've been using it for like what, 2 to 3 hours. So about after probably like a month of using it every single day, I will be posting a full review on it, but like this is an upgrade in almost every single category, at least a little bit. Obviously with the most hype around the ProMotion display and just generally the display. Now side by side, you might be able to notice that it's also significantly brighter, which could be useful. I use my phone for my navigation in my car. And I will say sometimes on the 11, depending on the way the sun's hitting it, it can be hard to see. So this should be an upgrade. But in terms of smoothness, again, I'm not sure how well it's gonna come across on camera, but it is way, way smoother. Although the 60 Hertz on the 11 has more, almost like a motion blur. So I don't even hate it. It's just, if I had to pick one, I would pick the ProMotion. Now, according to Apple, the 17 screen is supposedly scratch resistant. So I had this cool way of testing. I'm obviously not gonna do that to my 17. Now on paper, the 17 screen is bigger. It's just really not that noticeable. I mean, what is noticeable is the thickness of the bezels and edges. I much prefer the way the 17 looks. Something about just having like thin edges on your screen just makes it look a lot more premium, which is part of the reason why I think a lot of people might buy the iPhone Air. Now this screen size is comfortable for me, but I would be curious how I like something like the Pro Max or even the Air where it's still a slightly bigger screen. Like I kind of wish they offered like a 17 Plus where they took the exact same 17, made it a bigger screen and charged another $100 or something. I think that would pretty much be the perfect phone for me. Something I think I will be turning off is the always on display. I know it really dims the brightness, and with ProMotion, it reduces it to only like a 1 Hertz refresh rate. But like, to me, it just makes more sense that if you hit the off button, it turns off. I don't know. Again, the speakers, they sound great. I can feel the bass on the phone. And again, for whatever reason, I love the dynamic island. It is so simple. And it's nice how you can just tap it and it opens up whatever you're playing in and you can skip your next song from there. And something that I literally just noticed is typing on the keyboard. I am clicking a lot of the wrong keys. I probably just got to get used to it. It's a slightly different screen size, but that is worth noting. And I haven't had too much time to really play around with it, but the quick action button, for me, like I might have just preferred to have it like the way it is on the 11, like an actual switch. But the layer of customizability, I guess, is cool. And I am looking forward to really trying out the camera button. And 2 quick things before I actually talk about the camera. One is battery. I don't think I have to say much more. iPhone 11 it was pretty cooked. And the other thing that kind of actually has to do with camera, or at least video recordings, is storage. Man, that's another huge upgrade. The base model comes with 256 gigs instead of 128 like the 16, and that is 4 times the amount on my iPhone 11. This is 64 gigs, and I can feel it. Right now it says I can't even update to the newest iOS because there's not enough room. And now for the cameras themselves. Now, these two back cameras in the 17 have 4 times the megapixels than the back 2 cameras on the iPhone 11, which, you know, on paper should make a big difference. We are to soon see. And apparently from the 16 to 17, the ultra wide got a lot of big upgrades. Personally, I don't really use the ultra wide all that much. I would have preferred the regular default camera and a telephoto lens, but you know, you get what you get. I do plan on doing more of a full camera test between the 6 generations of iPhones here, just to really see how far they've came. But another huge upgrade specific to the 17 lineup is the selfie cam. If you hold your phone out here and you have people on your left and right, you gotta hold it like this, and then it's awkward to click the button, but now you can just click the reframe button and there you go. So I don't know how much that I'm gonna be using a feature like this, but I mean, it kind of does make sense because a lot of people's most used camera is probably the selfie one. So for Apple to, you know, put some of their upgrading points into that, I think is a pretty good move. But, you know, I am looking forward to seeing the quality difference there between the 2 phones. I mean, something I noticed right now is the iPhone 17 looks a lot more warm, and not in a good way. The 11 looks more natural. It's interesting, Apple. Now, I will say the one thing I did notice is the iPhone 11's camera is more like flush to the body, while the 17's kind of sticks out a little more, but has that kind of, that wiggle that's just, the iPhone 11 doesn't. So I would prefer not to have that, but I think what's most important is having better camera quality for me, so I'll happily deal with that. It is nice to know that unlike the 11, the 17 is pretty future-proofed when it comes to iOS. Like, I know the 11 can update to iOS 26, but that's probably gonna be the last big one for it. But even with all of that, one of the main deciding factors of why I got the 17 aren't the features, but it's the fact that you get all those features for the same $800 that the 16 launched for last year. Like, I'm seeing a lot of tech, especially with like cameras, that are going up in price because things like tariffs and just the general cost. The 17 has more features, takes things from the Pro line, upgrades things like storage, and is the same cost. And I think that's why this is going to be the best phone for almost everyone. And I think by far out of the 17 lineup, this is the best value. Now, when I chose the 17, I had to acknowledge that I'd be missing out on a few pretty cool features, especially with the 17 Pros, like a telephoto lens. Personally, with cameras, like right now, I love the telephoto lens look. I think it looks more cinematic, or whatever you want to call it. Apple log footage, that'd be fun to play around with. And of course, Apple ProRes RAW, which that is insane to me that that's in a phone. Like, that stuff would be a lot of fun just to play around with, even if it's just for a few video ideas, but I held back for one main reason, and that's because I have an incredible camera, this Sony FX3, and the situations where I would need higher quality, I would just use this. And the situations where I need a phone clip, well, the 17's camera is significantly better than the 11's. Like, the fact my texting and cellular communication wireless device can record 4K 60 video in the first place is insane. I don't need to be able to record RAW. But what I feel like I'm missing out on the most is just being at the peak of new technology. You have the Pros with all these new camera features. You have the Air, which is just a totally brand new phone. And it would just be kind of, you know, exciting to figure out how that works in real life. Then you have the 17s with a lot of really nice features, but it's just predictable. You know it's gonna work well, and you know it's gonna be great. And I think that's just like a fear of missing out thing, especially when you're making videos on it. Right now it's just like the hype train is full steam ahead, but I think after a few months when it all dies down, the 17 will just be the undisputed winner here. Like, in reality here, this is the best phone in a long time, and the best choice for 90% of people. Part of me thinks I should have just went all out for the Pro Max and got all the new features and all the cool camera stuff that through all the years of keeping that phone, I would eventually be taking advantage of. But like I said, in time when all the hype kind of dies down, I'm betting I'd feel like I made the right choice with this. Because of how good this phone really is, I wouldn't even think it's that crazy to trade in a 16 for the 17. There's just a lot better quality of life upgrades that aren't like gimmicky like a new camera or the thinnest phone ever, but it's what's useful for most people. And when it comes to phones, I am most people. But thank you for watching, and if you want to see more iPhone 17 related videos, feel free to subscribe.